Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now November 7th of 2025, and ever since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the most recent No Kings protest that took place back in October, and the election of Zohran Mamdani for New York Mayor, we have seen a ton of celebrities coming forward to say some of the most offensive things out there toward not just Charlie Kirk and Erika Kirk and their supporters, but also toward President Trump and his supporters, and it's all beginning to come full circle, where you're seeing the consequences for those very celebrities. You're beginning to see them lose work, lose fans, and lose a ton of different opportunities out there in Hollywood. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Jane Fonda, who is at the very top of the list of one of the most insufferable actresses out there to date, not just based on what she did back in Vietnam, when she was very much an activist, and she is still to this day, but she was more extreme back then, I feel at least. But when you're looking at her now, she's more vocal than we have seen in recent years due to her overall hate for President Trump, her overall issues with Charlie Kirk's overall views, political views that people are still actually supporting. She has a lot of problems with American citizens right now. And when we know one thing about Jane Fonda is that she is very much like Robert De Niro. She does not learn from her mistakes. She will never actually get the memo that nobody wants to be lectured by a celebrity or an actor slash actress, and people are walking away in droves. They no longer want to support your new work or even your past work from decades ago. This is why people, when they see an actor's face on an older movie, they only see the actor how they act today. Now, interestingly enough, with many Hollywood celebrities continuing to say some of the worst things possible about Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk, and President Trump and their supporters, one major development going on now involves more to do with actress Jane Fonda, who recently went on yet another long rant about Charlie Kirk and Trump. Jane delivered the following: "We are living in a very scary time right now, where the government shutdown is creating tons of hardship for American citizens. And what's so unfortunate is that this is all a result of Trump's policies, and those who support Charlie Kirk's views on how things should be run in this country. Trump and Kirk supporters are what led us to this point where they are convincing so many citizens who don't know any better to support their policies that really do fall into fascism. And we are beginning to see a dystopian reality shape before our eyes while Trump is in office. Ever since what happened to Charlie, we have seen irresponsibility coming from his supporters that so happen to be, and not surprisingly, Trump supporters. I think grieving is one thing, but Americans are now sickeningly obsessed with Charlie Kirk, and if his views really contributed to society or something. They didn't. These are the same American citizens who refuse to learn anything new or to pick up a book and educate themselves." Now guys, let me just stop there again. There goes Jane Fonda again talking about how essentially she believes that people have a sick obsession with Charlie Kirk now, and how they are uneducated and they need to pick up a book. Again, lecturing people, telling people how to think or what to believe in is going to be the key recipe for people to walk away from your work forever. Now, she continues, "It's time that we all see through," she says, "the truth of these liars and grifters. Don't even get me started again on Erika Kirk. But let's just say I have a lot of things to say about what she is doing politically and just how irresponsible it is of her to support and encourage President Trump. If you all want to continue to act like Charlie Kirk was a president, so be it, but just know that when you support Trump, you support fascism and racism, and it only makes Kirk supporters no different than Trump's. We need a better system to unite this country again, because we are living in a very dark time right now, a very dark and scary time for all of us. Freedom of speech is forever gone, because of men like Trump and those that talk for him. Both Charlie and Erika's views on politics are also contributing to the destruction of this entire country, and it's not looking good at all for the next 3 or so years that Trump will remain in office. I am more than willing to continue to call out the clownish behavior coming from supporters of both Trump and Kirk, who are turning our country into one big mess that we will all have to eventually clean up one day. To all of those that have common sense, I beg of you to listen to me that both Trump and Charlie's political views are part of the problem." So, again, guys, before I move on, here we have Jane Fonda begging people to listen to her overall view, begging people to actually, think differently or to act differently. people don't want to listen to it. If they wanted to listen to anybody, it would be to a political commentator or to an actual politician, period, the end. Nobody wants to hear any of this nonsense coming from an actor who's supposed to sit and act and do their lines and, get things, wrapped up for their movie or television show, whatever it may be. Now, this is exactly why Jane Fonda, and we talked about this numerous times, why she's losing work left and right in the midst of her trying to revitalize her acting career well into her 80s now. So in case you have been out of the loop, or if you have been, under a rock a bit about Jane Fonda, she is trying to actually come back with multiple acting opportunities, whether it's comedy or horror or thrillers, whatever, floats her boat. Essentially, she's trying to come back with different genres in the film industry. And so far, it's not working out well in her favor and working to no avail. So she goes on, and sure what she says, what happened to Mr. Kirk should have never happened. But his views were toxic, you have to admit that, and not fit for this country. We need to stay on our A game if we want to win the midterms next year, in 2026, and to take back the House and the Senate. And thankfully those like in this business that have a platform and a large following where we can educate the American people. So essentially she admitted what we all have been talking about right there toward the end, that she believes that because she's an actress, because she is one that has a very large following, quote unquote, that she can use that as leverage essentially to lecture the American people on how to think and how to vote and how to really act essentially. And we've seen this coming from George Clooney and Julia Roberts. Do you guys all remember that 2024 election campaign ad where they were both telling you to lie to your husband or wife on who you voted for? And no, that's actually like legitimately what happened in that commercial. They were actually pushing you, literally sending a message in that commercial to lie to your husband or wife on who you voted for. That's how desperate they were to get, of course, an election victory. And it's very childish. They are the ones that call people acting out very childish. I think it's the actors like George, Julia, and Jane, in this case here, are acting like children because they really just have no idea how to control themselves, no idea how to act in a civil matter, and that's just the end of it. Now, we know one thing for sure is that Robert De Niro, same exact thing. He's losing work here and there. People are also showing a lot of disinterest of the upcoming Fokker-in-Law movie, Meet the Fockers 4. They already slashed his screen time significantly as a result of his popularity sinking as we speak. But focusing on Jane again, she's still trying to get acting gigs, and multiple studios have already gotten rid of her. They fired her, blacklisted her, said no to her ever again, and there's more details surrounding that. We'll talk more about that in the near future. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Jane Fonda's extreme comments toward Trump, his supporters, Charlie Kirk and his supporters, and how everything is just fascism, racism, sexism. I mean, it's all just words that are overused now where people are essentially desensitized to it. But I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.